RAGS, when small things become lifelines. There was a pit, deep, dark, cold stone walls rising high above the ground. At the bottom of that pit was a man, a prophet. His name was Jeremiah. His crime was simple, yet dangerous. He spoke the truth, and sometimes the truth is the one thing people refuse to hear. So they silenced him. They took the prophet and lowered him into a muddy cistern. No water, only thick mud at the bottom. And there they left him. No ladder, no rope, no plan for rescue, just mud and silence. Slowly, the mud began to swallow him. Waist deep, cold, heavy. And above him, the world moved on. The city continued its noise. The palace continued its business. And somewhere in that palace was a man who heard what had happened. He was not a priest, not a soldier, not a nobleman. He was an outsider, an Ethiopian servant of the king. His name was Ebed-Melech. And when he heard that the prophet had been thrown into the pit, something in him refused to stay quiet. So he went to the king, not with a sword, not with an army, but with courage. He spoke. "Those men have done evil," he said. "They have left the prophet to die." And something remarkable happened. The king listened. He gave an order. "Take 30 men with you," he said, "and pull him out before he dies." But the rescue did not begin with chains, or iron hooks, or mighty tools. Instead, they gathered something strange. Old rags, torn garments, worn-out clothes, things people had already thrown away, scraps. They tied those rags to ropes, and then they lowered them down into the pit, down into the darkness, down into the mud, until the prophet could reach them. "Put the rags under your arms," they called out to him, "so the ropes won't cut into your flesh." And then they began to pull. Slowly, hand over hand, step by step, the rope tightened. The mud resisted, but the men kept pulling. And inch by inch, the prophet began to rise. Out of the darkness, out of the mud, out of the pit, until at last, light broke over the edge, and Jeremiah stood once again on solid ground. Alive, saved, not by weapons, not by miracles of thunder, but by old rags and the courage of one man. And maybe right now, someone watching this feels like that prophet, stuck in a pit. Maybe the pit is failure. Maybe it is shame. Maybe it is loneliness so deep you think no one hears you anymore. God hears. And sometimes, the rescue does not look like a miracle. Sometimes, it looks like a message from a friend, a prayer from your mother, a stranger who chooses kindness, a small act of courage, an ordinary person lowering their rags of grace. Because God is still in the business of pulling people out of pits, and He's still looking for servants of the King. People who are willing to speak up, willing to reach down, willing to throw their rags into the darkness so someone else can rise. And remember this, sometimes the smallest things become the strongest lifelines. Because our God is still lifting prophets out of pits. Rags, when small things become lifelines. Stephen Adeagbo is my name.